Welcome back to the real estate talk, our second hour. By the way, I am absolutely delighted you are joining me this Saturday night. Real estate does indeed change people's lives to the good. Live in the studio is Real Estate Concierge Jessica and Heather. They love this company. But I'll tell you, if you want to check it out, owntx.us. Now, the first point we did in the first segment was what, Heather?
Okay, that's where we do our Rec BO, buyer investor orientation. And, you know, Will, if I didn't get to say like a couple of the specifics, but in that orientation, Jessica mentioned that's how we build the plan. That's how we get to be the counselor and build the map for where they're going. But we break that down even further. We talk about long-term and short-term goals. Oh my God, people ask us all the time, where am I going to get the money, right? Well, I have 5 ways, you know, on how to get the money, and they're creative ways that people might not know of. We talk about A, B, C, D property classifications, and then when you set up to buy rental properties, you're running a business now, Willie. That's a business.
Yeah, do you do it in LLC?
You want to do it in an LLC. And there's other things like series LLCs if you think you're going to buy multiple properties. There's accounting pieces that you need to understand and know. Bank accounts, QuickBooks accounts, all of that we just dive very deep into and help you get set up properly from day one.
Oh, y'all do that, huh?
Oh, we help. We guide.
You got the lawyers to start the LLC?
We are not lawyers, but what we do is we have those contacts and we have those connections.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
Amazing. I might have to go over and see
Give us a call. Let's do a Rec BO with you.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know about that Jurassic Park stuff.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, if you want a good company to point you in the right direction when it comes to investment property and or primary residence, you can reach out over at Real Estate Concierge at 855-732-6700. Again, 855-732-6700, or simply go to owntx.us. Rock on, Heather. Keep going.
Okay. So before we went to break, we said finding the home is different than like if you're going to go buy a home. Most people, 98% of people actually, according to the National Association of Realtors, start their search online, Willie. Well, investors do too, but the information for investors is not the same as it is for people that actually want to live in the home. So we, as the guide, the coach, the leader of this operation, have to basically put our eyeballs on it that have experience, and we have to look at the properties through a different lens. So when we start the search, we control that more than the client does. Like when they're actually buying the home to live in it, they control that a little bit more. But we have a mode we put it on. It's called concierge mode.
It got a rock bow in there too?
It doesn't have anything to do with our name. That we didn't coin that phrase, but basically what that means is we help the client set up the search criteria based on pricing parameters and locations and some of the things that they know they want, and then the properties come into us, and then we get to eyeball it and say, okay, based on our evaluations, we think this might be a good property. And Jessica is a key component in that because that's one of her huge skill sets, to look and analyze the property, go through all 36 photos, look at the stats, look at the details, pay attention to the map, go down the Google view of the street. How does your brain work like that, Jessica? Just something you enjoy?
Take it like kind of, I guess I have these different layers that I try to look at it through, like, okay, does it look like it's in a location that would be desirable? Does it look like, what are houses going for in that area? What are the rents going for? And like, what are they asking for? So like kind of seeing that ratio to kind of figure out, is there going to be a profit on that? Can you have positive cash flow on that property if you have a renter in there, or are you going to lose money every month?
So do you look at what other properties that are, for example, 3-bedroom, 2-bath in that neighborhood are renting for, and you try to rehab, or not rehab, but try to buy in that price point and have apples to apples so that you get equivalent rent?
Right, yeah, we look at the comps, is what we call them, comparable properties. So yeah, similar properties going in that area that are renting. What are they renting for? What's common? And we like to be conservative. What are we pretty confident that person can get? Not what's the top dollar for that necessarily, but even on the at the worst case scenario, what is that house going to rent for? So the person can know, okay, if I have this kind of mortgage on it, and I'm going to get this kind of rent, am I still going to make money every month? And am I paying a property manager, because that's going to come out of their profits as well. So we kind of take all those things into consideration.
Do you recommend a property manager? Because the reason I do not have rental property, and because I don't want to be in the people business.
Mm-hmm.
But property managers take that anxiety out of the mix for someone getting involved in rental property, correct?
A good one should, but not all are created equal, Willie. And it's
True.
In my 13-year career. I mean, it's just evident. You see the good, the bad, and the ugly, and yeah, they're not all great, but you have to find the good ones, and the good ones make a difference.
I'm just asking because I don't know.
Yeah,
right?
go ahead.
So, property management company. I have 1 3-bedroom, 2-bath home over in Addison. I'm renting it out. I put it on a 2-year lease. They go and collect the rent, and they make sure that the commodes are flushing at 2 o'clock in the morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, and all that stuff. I'm playing right
Sure,
now, but,
sure.
but that's their job.
Yeah.
And then they charge me what? 10% of the rent?
Well, we're gonna get to leasing and property management in segment 3.
Oh, am I ahead of myself?
I'm
Imagine that.
gonna tease it up a little bit, but yeah, we're gonna talk about those variations because the leasing and property management piece, it is an expensive part of your.
It is or isn't?
It is. It is.
Really?
Yes, it is, and so we want it. That's why we want to make sure we get it right.
The one thing that I would think that the property manager would be so important to
Mm-hmm.
is to separate human emotions.
Mm-hmm. You hit it on the head.
Because when
Yeah.
somebody gets in a house and they get behind on rent,
Yes.
as the landlord, man, I don't know, for me as a landlord, I would have a hard time evicting people.
Oh, it's hard,
Sure.
and you want to separate yourself, you know.
Yeah, anyway, I'm not getting ahead of this.
Okay.
What
okay.
about, I've already gotten ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Stop me. Slow me down, Heather.
So Jessica was explaining, one of her roles is that, like, we put the properties in the concierge mode and we get to screen them basically and say, okay, we think this might be a good fit. Because what we find is our investors, especially our first time or second time investors, they don't know what they're looking for. It's a really hard shift because you're not looking at this home like, I want to live in this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard to change that mindset. But so basically, once we set these up and we think we have a fit, and we think we have a fit by putting them in this proprietary document that we created. It's a very boring spreadsheet, and it's called the Rental Property Analyzer. Okay, and what that does is it spits out a 10-year analysis. Okay, based on what our true understanding of this market area and what things break commonly in North Texas, Willie. That's the key, We're not buying property in Utah, so we don't need to know if there's radon or whatever the things happen in Utah. I don't even know, but probably snow and whatever. But here we have foundations and we have dry air and we have air conditioners that work 9 months of the year. So it's important we understand those because those are expensive. So we analyze this in a 10-year rental property analyzer, running our sale and our lease comps. And then based on that, if we think it's a fit, we set up the appointment. And another difference here, you guys, is a lot of the time when you're buying a property to live in yourself, you always go walk it, right? The client always goes to see that house. But in the investor world, that doesn't happen a lot, actually. We
Really?
walk it for them, and we take a video and we pan the room. The videos, typically we like to keep them about 5 minutes or less, and we pan the room, we pan the neighborhood, and we upload that to the Google Drive, and then they get to watch it. And then we take additional close-up photos of the major mechanical items like the AC, the water heater, the roof, and then anything that's damaged. And then that's kind of our investor file, and then we upload that, and the investor gets to kind of view it and see it. And sometimes if they want to see it based on that, they can. And sometimes some of our investors are more hands-on than others, but we helped a hedge fund company buy about 250 properties just like this. So we would say we have a little bit of experience, and we can definitely
I know you do.
help people be successful.
I'm curious, the 10-year analyzer on rental properties, for example, today,
Yes.
there are regulations that you have to do as a landlord. For example, you have to have peak holes in the outer doors.
That's right.
And you have to be to code with the electricity. And you guys walk and the analyzer really takes into effect that any kind of upgrades you got to make in the beginning to get it ready to rent, right?
Yeah.
over a 10-year. That is really a cool deal.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I got to go to break
no
now.
problem.
Real Estate Concierge is your company of choice when it comes to investment property and or primary investment. I like them. I use them. They are, I'm not going to say you guys are the company of millennials, but you're the company of forward thinkers in a major way. 855-732-6700. Again, 855-732-6700. Or you can go to simply OwnTX.us. Heather, when we come back, what are we going to talk about?
Okay, we're going to talk about what you asked about earlier, leasing and property management, Willie. So we're going to answer those questions for you.
Stick around. We'll be back in a Willie Skosh.